Hi, what's up YouTube? So, today I've come to I just saw my hands do a thing. I'm paying attention as closely as I can here. Okay, I'm gonna try and hold myself steady. Okay, so, anyways. So yeah, today I have come to a certain understanding about reality. And I want to share these understandings that have come since today. And I want to try, do my best to encapsulate them into some kind of permanent form, just because my memory has been whack lately. So, and my perception has been getting kind of foggy. And these are justifications, rationalizations I don't need to be giving. I'm making a video today, yeah. And I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know how successful I'm gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna turn into some kind of, I just don't know what's gonna happen. So, basically, what I've been realizing, so like with these feelings, like there's things coming on my inside and like tearing my shit up and like filling up space on the inside and sending me flying and taking control of my body and all this, it's been killing me for a lot lately. And the reason I think I've been struggling so hard with it, like Arvak in the mud, etc. The reason I've been struggling so hard with it is because literally the thing, whatever this phenomenon is, right? Not a deterministic universe, but this phenomenon literally like had me convinced that I was my separate self. Like the me, it had me convinced that I was my ego. And I lost track of which one was me. Like the one that perceives and the one that like understands and the one that versus the one that I teach on my insides. Like the one that, I misidentified which one was me. I'm the consciousness. I'm the consciousness. I'm not any part of my body. My body has parts. Who's the owner of those parts? Me, the consciousness. The consciousness. It's not me, the consciousness. It's the consciousness, the self. Okay. And so, saying me, the consciousness, doesn't make sense. The consciousness. I suppose, what I've come to understand is that, what seems to be the issue, the main issue, is that fighting it, resisting it, allowing it to affect my behavior in any kind of way. So, if I stop what I'm doing and pay attention to it, or if I feed into it by, if it initiates inside of my head with some kind of, provocative type thing, so, saying, you need to work on this, or what's wrong with you, or some shit like that, you know what I mean? So those types of voices, self-critical voices, even if it's lightly critical, it's whack as fuck. But I've noticed any kind of self-criticism, anything that wants me to work on my awareness or my ego, anything on my insides lately, in this environment, in this certain circumstance, in this point in time, anything that makes me feel like I'm not enough, I'm not healed, anything like that. And I need to do this, and that in order to become healed and then good enough to start living my own life and to do the things that I actually want to be doing. Yeah. Anytime I give into that and accept it in as part of me, anytime it's this really could mean that you're, for example, a narcissist, or this means that you're a bad person or anything like this. And I think in order to heal that, what you need to do is anything that comes as a form of a command, anything that's you should do, not you should, do this. It literally, it's commands. If it's commands, it's not God. If it's commands, it's not the higher self. If it's commands, it's not me. And I wasn't realizing this. I wasn't realizing that the criticisms that I was hearing weren't coming from higher wisdom. The ones that weren't encased in love. The ones that weren't compassionate, understanding, empathetic at all. It's just kind of based on the present scenario, whatever's going on right here, right now, without context, being this could mean, you really should work on. Yeah, it's really hard to put this into words, and my mind's getting kind of scattered right now. But yeah, I realized that anytime we try and conceptualize or bracket or label or So like trying to determine, I've wasted so much time trying to figure out, am I the narcissist? Are they the narcissist? Who's the narcissist? Anytime, and see, this is the thing. The thing is being stuck in separateness and investing in separateness. But anytime you try and zoom into the line, anytime you try and find where the distinction actually is, so who's the real one that's the narcissist and who's the one that's not the narcissist in this scenario, it's all one being, ultimately. It's all the Brahman. It's like if you zoom in, for example, it's like if you there's many ways to describe this, but like with atoms and like subatomic particles and shit, like we've found as a humanity so far, you know, I haven't personally, I'm not a scientist, but as we've tried to zoom in with electron microscopes and with all this tech and with all this, trying to find the fundamental particle out there. What we find is that it keeps fractalizing and it keeps just being quarks. It wasn't the atom. There's quarks then. And I guarantee you those quarks and those subatomic particles, like there's more shit underneath that too. And it goes the same as you go outward. So like as we zoom into the microcosmos, if you go to the macrocosmos, it works the same. The macrocosmos has no like line, no border. It has no, it's not contained. It's not contained. It's infinite, and it goes in both directions. And it's true of any kind of separation or conceptualization, bracketing, bucketing, any kind of labeling at all. It's like, okay, so ego and the human mind and yeah, all of that, like the only reason we understand the world around us in any kind of way that we feel like we do, you know? So like I see that table, and I say, that's a table. I see the carpet, I say, that's a carpet. This is your discerner and your acumen, and it is an important thing. However, there's a point of diminishing returns, and there's like a balance to be found. Yeah, I'm working there. So the part of us that knows how to say, oh, that's a table, that's a carpet. What is it actually? What it actually is consciousness. It's the self. It's you, you know, me, whatever. Yeah, the self. What it is the self, consciousness, condensing its. So if consciousness exists in Maya on the most fundamental level as vibration, so in matter, in illusion, inside the universe, in the dream, if the most fundamental level of consciousness is vibration, oscillation, it exists in 3 different states, at least. 3 main states of consciousness here. It could be divided up into like 9 or 10, like I said with conceptualization, yeah. It's like, yeah. Essentially, it goes vibration, energy, matter, and it's like string theory or fucking vapor, water, ice. It goes consciousness, energy, matter, vibration, energy, matter. And so, what am I actually looking at? When I see that table, when I see that couch, when I see the sky, when I see anything, any understanding as something as separate from the all. If I look at that and say, that's a table, and think to myself, that's exactly what it is, and that's all it is. It is a separate thing. It is a table. It's not anything else. It is its category. It is a table. I'm wrong. I'm wrong, because it's not just a table. It's atoms, and it's energy, and it's consciousness. And so the thing is, when it comes to conceptualization, duality, things that make sense to the human mind, there is no one true separate self. There's no one true way of understanding your separateness. There's no one true way of categorizing yourself. There's no one true way of describing, for example, like who you are, or your interests, your flavor, your sexuality, your any of those things. We do our best, and the labels seem to work pretty well. They get the communication across. However, what the situation actually is, right, the fundamental reality as opposed to the distorted reality, is always that those conceptualizations and those fractalizations, the conceptions, the creations through duality, where the reality is, it's not any of those things. It's just consciousness. And so you have to kind of like, when it comes to things in the mind, ego, the way it conceives reality, the way it understands reality, it's like, give it all a grain, it's worth a grain of salt. Like, take it with a grain of salt. It's always a distortion. Duality is distortion of the one light, the one spirit. The initial creation, so, the vesica Pisces, and the initial creation in this universe, when God said, let there be light and all this, and when it divided, and all of that was distortion. What is distortion? It is a filtering, changing, cutting, alteration of the truth, or the light, or the one, or unity, or, everything that's happened since the Big Bang has been distortion of unity. That means nothing. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. It doesn't mean duality is good or bad, because duality is creation, and creation's a beautiful thing. However, it's a dream. It's like not real. It's actually just consciousness, like taking a whole bunch of different shapes and vibrating in different ways. And so if anything ever seems too meaningful, if it ever seems like, you have to control so much, and you have to resist and fight and all this, essentially what you're clinging to in those scenarios, what you're clinging to is separation. What you're clinging to in those scenarios is separateness. And the more that you invest in separateness when you're suffering, so if you're afraid of the people around you, if you're afraid this will happen, if you're afraid that will happen, if you're afraid whatever will happen, the more you feed into that fear and decide to become more separate as a means to an end of achieving a safer reality, better reality, whatever it may be, by digging into the separateness, digging into the, it's not them, it's not me, whatever. Trying to find refuge in separateness, what you will end up finding is just as it would with the electron microscope, the more and more you zoom in, invest in separateness, the less and less you'll ever be able to find it. That's exactly what happened to me. It's like I never could feel like I was left alone. I never felt like I had privacy. I never felt like I could get away from people. I never felt like the more and more I zoomed into separateness and invested in separateness and gave weight to the ways my mind categorized me and my life and the world around me and other people, the more and more weight, meaning the conclusions that my mind has come to about reality, being like, okay, that's truth, fundamental truth, Grain of salt. Any belief we ever have about reality fundamentally is a distortion. And so it always could be wrong. And so it's never right enough to put your head in the sand, to stop paying attention, and to stop learning and growing. You've never understood enough about the universe to be able to, because what do you actually understand about this universe? It's neti. It's not this, it's not that, it's not here, it's not there, it's not coming, it's not going, it's not up, it's not down, it's not black, it's not white, it's not gray. What is this universe? This universe is. The universe is. Anything past that, it's gonna be half true. A yin yang. Don't you know? So, don't despair over if you think of yourself as a failure, or if you think of yourself as a bad person or a good person or a success or as anything, and you feel like you have to do something in order to maintain that, or do something in order to not be that, and it's also urgent, and it's also meaningful, and it's also important, and it's also weighty. Remind yourself that what you actually are isn't separate from anything or anyone else at all. It's not above, it's not below, it's not different. in any actual way. In any actual way. The only ways in which we're different as living things, which these differences exist, it's just an illusion. Like the rest of reality. The only ways we are actually separate from, that we aren't. The only ways we can feel like we're separate from anything at all, around us, in us, whatever, is through distortion created by the human mind. It's not a bad thing, but don't lose where reality is at. And where is reality at? It's free from the oscillations of the mind, free from conception, free from duality. Where reality actually is in the right here, right now. Present moment, feeling, being. And seeing no difference between you, the observer, the feeler, the understander, the consciousness, in anything you see, feel, hear, whatever. And that means what? It doesn't mean anything, but it does mean that if you can identify with that consciousness instead of any bit of separation, it means that you don't have to claim or cling to any one part of it, to hold on to it and to resist or fight. Because you already are all of it. You already have all of it. You already are all of it. So why cling to any of it? Why not just let the song do its dance? You know. Namaste. Namaste, y'all. Peace.